Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. Ground control to Major Tom. 8, 7, 6. Commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2. Check ignition and may God's love be with you. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade. And the papers want to know whose shirt you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in the most peculiar way.
Oh, buddy.
Hello. Are we here? Are we doing this again? What happened?
We're doing it live.
Somehow, Late Night has returned.
Somehow, some way. Somehow, Late Night has returned. Indeed, yes. Welcome back to the Late Night Star Wars show. I know it's been a long time, but hey, Rissman and I made an agreement a long time ago that we were going to do this at least once a month. Right?
That's true. That's true.
I think it's important that we continue this tradition. And look, we've been waiting a long time for... Oh, I'm coming through your speakers. We've been waiting a long time for at least a little bit of news for something to talk about. And I realized as I was watching the intro, something came to mind. I know we were excited talking about it in the back. I don't know if Lucasfilm is capable of making something that feels like Star Wars. I was watching after the pen brushed the last stroke from George Lucas's hand. The only thing that's come out since that sale that felt like Star Wars was probably Rogue One. Andor was close for me, very close. But I mean, that was pretty much it. And so now, as I'm looking through all those projects, I'm like, shit, okay. Well, we've got rumors of a new trilogy being made. We've got some exciting news about Andor Season 2 coming sooner than people thought, which I know you are just flapping at the jowls for.
I knew one was coming.
Of course you did, yeah. You're my little sparrow. And then a Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, I'm psyched for... Oh. That's the wrong Major Tom. That was the wrong Major Tom, by the way. But I'm psyched for a Skeleton Crew.
That's not the wrong Major Tom. That's the right Major Tom.
No, that song was Space Oddity, not Major Tom.
Educate me. What am I missing out here?
That song that was playing on the intro is not Major Tom. The song was called Space Oddity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the song that's playing behind the Skeleton
Peter Chilling.
Yes, that was Major Tom. Two different songs.
Got it. You know what's funny? I don't think I've ever heard the Peter Chilling song Major Tom.
Really? Well, that's because you're not.
Oh yeah, no, I know that song. Na, na, na,
that's the song that's playing behind them. Falling.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. Major Tom. It is a sequel to David Bowie's Space Oddity.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense because everybody kept saying, "Oh my God, Major Tom is in it," and I'm watching the trailer like 4 times. I'm like, I didn't hear that fucking once.
That's because everyone thinks of Major Tom as David Bowie, Space Control. But that's not Major Tom. That song is called Space Oddity.
All right. Well, sorry, I was born in 1990. All right.
Listen, you know how I know I'm right? Ghostwriter said I was right. That's how I know I'm right about this.
Well, there you go. That's all the confirmation you need right there. What's up, Ghostwriter? Good to see you. And by the way, hello, chat. Good to see everyone. Peak OB1 is here and starts us off with the first chat of the night saying, let's go. Good to see you, Peak Obi-Wan. And then obviously our favorite mod, Blood Guilty Gaming, is here. What's going on, Blood Guilty? And Joan Lovelace starts us off with a $10 super chat and says, let's go. I can't hold this that long. I can't find the video I was looking for.
Let's go.
Thank you, Joan, for the 10. Glad to have you here. Okay, so let's kick this thing off. I don't want to spend too much time beating around the bush here. I haven't spent a lot of time covering Star Wars lately. What?
You haven't spent a lot of time covering anything lately, but okay.
Games. I've been talking about games.
Yes, a lot of games. A lot of games.
I got to be completely honest with you. I mean, I've had a falling out. I don't think that was news to anyone. I've had a falling out with Star Wars, a heavy falling out. And right now it's a little bit like a toxic ex, you know. Every once in a while I'll go like check on posts and you click on something and it's like, yeah, Star Wars fans are still shitty. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I leave her Instagram. I don't want to look at her anymore. Like, all right, I remember I left for a reason. But having said that, I think it's important that we talk about this stuff and perhaps, mayhaps, maybe there could be something to look forward to in the horizon, but I've pretty much I think I've laid my cards on the table at this point. I don't know that there's anything that they can do.
Come on.
With what they've presented at this point. All right, look. So we were talking about this a little bit on Echo Base. LucasFilm loves to put 15 balls in the air. They're juggling 15 balls. They're like, look at all these projects that we have. Aren't you guys fucking excited about Star Wars? Check them out. Oh my God, look at all these projects. And then they fucking drop every single one of those balls.
Yeah, no.
And they disappear. And they're like, well, check out this comic about a trans Jedi. And we're like, okay, didn't ask for that. I don't know anybody that asked for that, but okay. And that's basically been the rinse and repeat cycle for the past 2 years.
I mean, but that has nothing to do with Skeleton Crew, right? Skeleton Crew's been out there since 2017, 2018.
So I mean, one of the balls that stayed in the air. One of the balls.
Well, I mean, the rest of the balls, you know, they may never fall down, but this one's fallen down and it's going to be out here in less than a month.
Absolutely. And we're going to get to that because I know you're excited to talk about it. But first, I want to get through some nitty gritty stuff.
What is it?
So hold on. Let me move this over here and then move this over here so I can do this over here. Calculating. All right, here we go. So I want to start with the conversation really quickly about, God, they love using this picture over and over and over and over again. I do too, because it's so retarded. So Star Wars loses yet another writer on the Rey movie. So this article is talking about Stephen Knight.
Yeah.
Leaving the movie. He was on the Rey movie? I thought he was on Mandalorian and Grogu. He was on the Rey movie.
No, he turned in like 4 edits. Bless him. On the Rey movie. This is Charmaine.
4 edits?
Yeah. He was the guy on Charmaine Obey, you know, Go Away. That's the movie. And he did. He sent in at least 4 edits on the script, apparently. And he kept getting notes. He kept getting notes.
Yeah.
And then apparently he was like, you know what? I got my own studio. I've got this Peaky Blinders thing going on. You know what? Fuck y'all. And then he just laughed.
I'm glad because I want the Peaky Blinders movie to get as much attention as it possibly can because it needs it. That's. Do you know is Cillian, whatever his name is? Cillian?
Yeah, he's in it. Of course,
he's gonna run it. Okay, awesome.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Really looking forward to that. Peaky Blinders is probably my favorite modern TV show that's come out at any point. What are you doing, Tommy? I love it. Andy P My best friend says, so busy rubbing shoulders with bigwigs like Drunk 3PO, he forgot about us. I played PGA with you night before last. What the fuck are you talking about? I love you. That's my buddy. Brian W's in the chat says, the boys are back. What's up, Rissman? Oh, and hi, X-Wing. What is up, Rissman? How are you?
You know, I would have thought this movie would never happen, but now with this new weird trilogy and this movie and all of the above, I'm not sure I know, like everyone else, I'm not sure what's going on. But I do know Stephen Knight's not involved, and bless him, great. he got the hell out of here. He's like, I don't want this dragging my career down. I'm out.
That was one of the things I was most excited about. I was like, Stephen Knight's in there penning something for Star Wars. It's got to be good. If there's one thing that Stephen Knight knows, it's tension, right? Was he the writer for the Peaky Blinders series?
I don't know anything about. I thought he was all behind that, so I don't know.
I was assuming so. I don't know. Yeah. Excuse me for being ignorant on that fact, but yeah. I mean, if he had anything to do with Peaky Blinders and you put him in Star Wars, I would have figured it would have made a great film, because it's just leaps and bounds above and beyond anything that we see from Lucasfilm these days.
Well, and so the interesting thing about it is, while I don't disagree, I mean, you know, everyone says Kinsberg is like, you know, a tier 1 writer, the same as, I guess they're putting on the same as Gilroy, the same as, you know, Stephen Knight. You know, they're all on the same plane, you know, from a writing perspective.
Wasn't Kinsberg like one of the X-Men guys?
Yeah.
Like the really unpopular X-Men movies?
Well, and so he's waffled between producing and writing, but yes, he has been so pervasive that he's had some hits, some fails. And he was with Filoni and Carrie Beck on Rebels. And that's the reason why they've chosen him, right? They've chosen him for this, you know, because she's going to fade out, and they know him. They like him. Like Filoni and Carrie Beck is like, okay, we can deal with this guy, right? But that's Kinsberg from a Star Wars perspective.
What I'm having some trouble trying to figure out, though, is that I thought we were getting a Rey movie, and then there was no talk about 10, 11, 12. So are we getting a Rey movie and then a Rey trilogy? Or are we getting a Rey movie and then a Rey trilogy?
We don't know. So I follow Jeff Snyder, the InSnyder. You know, he said the same thing. He reached out to his folks. He's like, well, I think maybe, you know, the Rey movie is like the bridge movie. So it's like, you know, we're getting towards this trilogy, right? Because this trilogy there's been a lot of back and forth about, is it 10, 11, and 12? If so, is there a time jump? What's going on? And so from Jeff Snyder's opinion is, if that movie is still coming on, so that'll be like the bridge movie to get us to this trilogy, or else it could be the first movie of this trilogy. Because again, he's not directing it, he's writing it. So we still have to think about who's directing this trilogy. It could be, you know, Shemaine Joy, or whatever her fucking name is. Yeah, but I think she's out. By the way, she's had nothing for a minute. I've thought she's out for a bit, right? But Daisy Ridley has said, well, now there's more than one. You know, he's saying she's going to be the Obi-Wan in the trilogy. Blah blah.
I feel like they smelt shit in the toilet bowl with Charmine from like Jump Street, essentially. Like the second it came out, everybody dug up everything about Charmine that they could. And it was like, I don't know if we need this kind of PR right now. Because the second anybody goes, I understand that there's motive behind the statement, but I enjoyed making men uncomfortable. Everyone's like, dude, are you drinking out of a Loth cat right now?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I was just making sure.
Gritting Loth cat. Yeah.
That wasn't like the ashes of a past cat or something like that. Okay.
No.
So, here's my question, and I need you to either bring me back to earth or say like, yeah, this totally makes sense. I feel like there has been for some time, 2-3 years, a bit of a cultural shift going on where as these things started to come out early on with Disney, it was girl power and yada yada. People were accepting, obviously, to a degree. The sequel trilogy made money to a degree. The parks made money to a degree because it was all new and fresh and people were coming in and spending their money and stuff like that. That's starting to fade rapidly, I feel like. Especially now, and I know that it's a recent event, but tell me I'm crazy, with Trump coming into office, the cultural shift is going to now snowball even faster, much, much faster. And so my question is, with as long as it takes for content to catch up with cultural shifts, which is 5 to 10 years, maybe, before we see content actually shift, what happens to the next 5 years of Star Wars content? Because if we do get a Rey movie, that's a bridge movie, before we get 10, 11, 12, that would be destined to fail, which I already think it would be because the cultural shift already happened within the populace, not within the movie makers, but within the populace. What happens?
It's, for me, whether it's the Charmaine movie, whether it's this trilogy, for me, it's way too late to bring out any of this bullshit with Rey. Right now, it's been since 2019 we've had the last movie that has anything to do with the sequel trilogy. So now, whatever this is, whether it's Charmaine's movie, whatever this trilogy is, it's gonna be, goodness sakes, it's gonna be 2027, 2028. Because
2020.
the first movie they're doing is Mando and Grogu, right? So I'm like, what? It's gonna be so many years. It's like, this is so stupid to me, right? It's like we're all in a Mandoverse content, and now this? It's dumb.
So my question, who's into Mandoverse content right now?
Well, I mean, nobody really is, but that's at least more current, more relevant than
I think you mean less hated. That's basically what it feels like to me.
Well, Skeleton Crew is Mandoverse, right? I mean, we've got Ahsoka out and all that, and now Andor 2 is going to come. That's a flyer, right? That has nothing to do with any of the rest of this, right? So the most current, they're not putting out any sequels era content. When's the last time you had seen anything to do with the sequel trilogy, folks?
I think I walked past a trash can the other, last week, and I saw a Rey doll sitting in a dumpster. That's about like how much I've seen from the sequel trilogy in the past, 3 years.
That's what I mean.
I think Lego did. There might have been a Rey in a Lego movie or something like that. But so regardless, it doesn't seem like the data is making it to Lucasfilm as to what they should or should not be doing. I think what's bothering me about this current cycle of content, I really do think it is going to make a shift for the better in the next 2 years. I think the content that we'll see will be better than Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, all of the disasters that we talked about ad nauseum on this channel for a year and a half. But having said that, after such a massive failure of a cycle dump, I mean, it was Marvel Phase 4 for Star Wars, and it was their first phase, essentially. I don't feel like the win they need right now is a kid show that nobody gives a shit about.
It's not a kids show, though.
But isn't it?
Is it?
Well, here's the question. So if you sit down and have an argument with somebody who's pro Skeleton Crew, which obviously you are, I know a lot of people are, because it's a Goonies type story, right? It's a feel good. Do you consider Goonies a kids movie?
Well, so the people that are involved creating Skeleton Crew are my age folks. They're the folks that are like back. They're trying to bring
the 80s
out
kids adventure feel. Yeah.
Stranger
Things type.
So maybe it is for kids. Maybe it's for me and the kids that I should have. But I don't know. But their point about it is the reason why they loved the Goonies, the reason why they loved E.T. and all that is they felt like those were adult-oriented shows that had kids as the stars. So when I hear people say this is a kid show, I'm like, I'm not sure that's true.
So I get what you're saying. Yeah, and it's a bit of a...
And the fact that Ghost Rider says it'll be crap, that means to me that even more so that it'll be good.
You got to make up your mind. It's one way or the other. It's got to be one or two.
Yeah,
Either agrees with you or he doesn't.
No, it's going to be great.
So in my mind, yeah, I understand it. It's a bit of a nostalgia bang. It's a callback to an older style of storytelling, which is the kids going through an adult adventure, which is very much like the Stranger Things, very much like the Goonies. I'm trying to think of another one that would make sense for that.
It's going to be the the never-ending story. It's going to be all those again, and everyone's like, well, this makes me think about this, and this, and this, and you look at their interview and they're like, that's exactly what they're going for. So whether you think they needed to do this or not, because remember, this show has been done since 2017, 2018. This has been in the can for a minute, back from the buffet era of the smorgasbord era of Star Wars, like a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
It's so bad.
So whether you think they needed to do this or not, right? There's a lot of adults involved with this from a writing, from a directing perspective.
Well, I would hope there would be adults.
Well, but in the Acolyte, there was no adults involved. There was just a bunch of kids playing at their first experience.
I'm in Hollywood.
Yeah. But these folks are,
storytellers.
Bryce Dallas Howard, Leah Chung, all these people,
storytellers.
These folks know how to do this shit. So whether or not it's your favorite Star Wars story they've ever told, I think this is going to be more akin to Mando 1 and 2 from a production value standpoint, from a director standpoint, from a writing standpoint. And so, okay, fine. You know what I mean? Please give it to me after The Acolyte. Jesus Christ. What a shit.
I would take Kenobi after The Acolyte.
I recently rewatched Kenobi after The Acolyte, and I have to tell you, it's even better than it ever was, right? I didn't care they ruined the Star Destroyer so much this time because it was, you know what I mean? It's just a whole different perspective.
Well, it turns out, drinking pee after eating a turd is a bit of a relief.
Yeah.
That's not. We're not praising you, Lucasfilm.
Yeah, but I am 100% sure that the Skeleton Crew is gonna be a very fun watch. Compared to what we've got and all the rest of it, much better than Mando season 3. By the way, what a shit show that was.
Man, you want to talk about children making a show? What happened?
But again, I blame Jon Favreau on that. I know Ghost Rider, this is for you.
And I still don't believe it. I simply can't believe that Jon Favreau had a hand in that massacre that was Mando season 3.
Well, I mean, it is his story, right? So hopefully they do a better job on the Mando and Grogu movie.
You have to wonder if, essentially what happened with Stephen Knight would have happened with Jon Favreau, but he was so fed up with that at that point that he just said, do whatever you want with it. So he wrote a story, didn't want to get fired by Lucasfilm, wrote a story, and they're like, we have these notes and these notes and these notes and these notes. And Jon Favreau just goes, you know what? If you want to do it, do it. Watch what happens. And they changed it to whatever Mandalorian season 3 was.
Because he didn't, this whole, KK took over, blah, blah, whatever. I don't believe it. I think it went off the rails for whatever reason. And I am looking forward to the Mando and Grogu movie, actually. And it has to hit. It has to hit. Hopefully it has a reasonable budget, 100 million, 125 million. I think it'll do 600 million, 650, whatever. But if that movie doesn't do it, we will never get another fucking Star Wars movie ever again.
They are so gun shy right now for the silver screen. They are so gun shy.
And so for that reason, again, that's why I think, Iger actually called Favreau and he's like, bro,
we gotta fix
can
this
you
shit.
please Mufasa this bitch?
I
right?
think he
Can you
legitimately
do
called him and said, we need an Iron Man.
Yeah.
If
Can
we
you
don't get an Iron Man, we're fucked.
Can you do something? Can you make Favreau happen?
Yeah, we need
And
an
he's
elf.
like-
We need an Iron Man. We need something to kick this back off because they're in the dregs right now. Let's be
Yeah.
honest with each other. Like, they're in the dregs. They're not creating stories that people are naturally invested in, that people care about. They're counting on some old things for people to care about. But the problem is the things that they're making that are attached to the old things that people care about, they've bastardized to the point where they don't want to care anymore and they don't want to buy the stuff. Dude, if they had paid due deference to like my homies in the old days of Star Wars, I'd still be buying Disney shit. I'd be buying Disney lightsabers. I'd be buying fucking Disney Jedi cloaks. I'd still be buying shit if they did what they needed to do, which was pay respect to the old fans. But they were so interested in creating a new fan base with fresh money that they could just, they pissed off the people who really cared. And now the people that they wanted as their fan base don't fucking care. Those young kids are not invested in Star Wars the way they should be.
Well,
Not like they were in the early 80s, not like they were in the early 2000s.
some of that's true, right? Some of that's echoey, but some of it's true, right? I mean, I go out and about. I've been to Disney recently. There is still a lot of folks who are there for Star Wars. There's still a lot of folks there buying shit with kids there.
People that are going to the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going out and about, doing their things. The franchise is still more vibrant than I think we like to talk about in our online sphere.
I do it through the eyes of a hardcore fan. And so obviously that's going to be a little different. But the bottom line is, from the hardcore fan base, you see the alienation. And it's not just the people that I talk to on camera. Obviously, you see it in chats left, right, upside down, and sideways. You see it in the viewership in a lot of these different places that are talking about not only Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, many different franchises where people have been established for a long time that have been corporatized. And that corporatization is what has taken the magic out of it. And a lot of people feel disenfranchised now. It's just, that's the bottom. Like, it's, people try to argue like, no, everything is fine. Like, it's not fine.
Well, it's not fine, but it's also not dead on arrival, right? So we're in that weird middle sphere, right? Which is how do you propel it without killing it further, right? And so that's why I think Mando and Grogu, we'll see what happens. Because again, in the parks, Mando and all that stuff is still very vibrant, right? But if they sent Darth Vader out walking around, that would be great too.
100%. Yeah. If I heard Vader was walking around and they changed the dish on the Falcon, I would be back at Galaxy's Edge.
Well, this pissed me off so bad because on in D23 Brazil, they put a picture up and it was Darth Vader and he was surrounded by 2 stormtroopers, and the 2 stormtroopers were First Order stormtroopers. And I'm like, can we not at least put the right fucking stormtroopers surrounding Darth Vader?
Like, who fucking wrote this? Who wrote
this?
this?
To God. There was like Vader was in the middle and there were 2 First Order stormtroopers. I'm like, does anybody know the difference? Am I the only one? I'm like, why am I? You know what I mean? But
it's like Ronald Reagan walking next to freaking Michelle Obama. It just doesn't make sense.
Listen, I would love to have Ronald Reagan back in, by the way, right now. That's a different conversation for a different stream, but peace and love. But again, it's the Vader and the 2 stormtroopers. And I had a conversation with a couple other people on a different Discord. And they're like, do you think anybody knows but you? Star Wars Santa was like, he's needling on me. He's like, you're the only one. I'm like, I shouldn't be the only one that knows the difference between a real, a OT stormtrooper and a first order stormtrooper who did this. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so that's another part of the problem. Hey, hold up. Did we get oh shit.
What?
What's up? You've been X-rated. X-ray girl sends her regards. Cousin!
Oh, wow.
Is X-ray girl in here? Is she in here? Where is she? Where is
no idea.
Where is she? And a saucy. Oh, it's a saucy raid. It's a saucy raid. What's up to the saucy Saturday, folks? Good to see you here. Glad to have you. This is just two old men bitching about Star Wars. So you know what you're getting now if you just rated. So yeah, it's one of those things again where we find decisions being made not only in the Disney parks but in Disney content itself, where it's like this motherfucker has no idea what they're talking about. They have no idea what they're doing. Darth Vader walking next to First Order stormtroopers, like, you gonna put that in an action figure pack too? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
I don't know.
didn't like it. Still don't like it. But
We got so sidetracked.
what were we talking about?
I got completely fucking derailed from what I was trying to say there. Let me gather my brain really quick. Oh yeah. So anyways, again, I don't know that they don't have a choice, obviously, but I don't know if the win they need to put out right now is essentially a kid show. I know that you're saying it's adult themes with kids running around in it, but I mean, it's a kid show. And after everything that's happened, the Nagasaki level event, at least for hardcore fans, that has been that phase of Star Wars. I know you get mad when I do that, but
No.
a kid show, I don't think that's going to be the win that draws people back in. I could understand maybe making an argument that Andor could possibly draw some people back in, but until we get a big screen event that draws back the magic, the numbers, the beauty of the absolute fucking ape shit crazy fandom that happened in the early 80s and the early 2000s, I don't see him fixing it.
Well, I mean, no one's subscribing to Disney Plus because of Skeleton Crew, right? Skeleton Crew is a series, again, that's been in the can for more than a minute. That they're like, again, with what everything that happened with the writer's strike and all these things, they were like saving this up, and so now they're releasing it. You know, again, and when they're releasing it, by the way, December the 3rd, it's going to be on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and when it's coming out, you're going to do a watch party on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. By the way, for Skeleton Crew, probably not.
Yeah,
but again, I don't think that means it's not going to be good. I just think it's one of those things where they're like, we got to space this content out, and now they've announced that Andor is going to, Andor season 2 is going to debut April 22nd, which is not a surprise. I've been saying this forever. It's the week after Celebration. Of course, it's going to be. That's
sure.
The only thing that
they'll do a 2-episode screening at Celebration, and blah blah blah, fucking rinse and repeat the same shit they've been doing forever.
Oh,
right?
And it's gonna be Tony Gilroy doing 4 movies again worth of content. Peace and love. It's gonna be
Tony
great.
write too?
Say
Andor
again?
2? Tony wrote Andor 2.
Oh yeah. Tony's
there'll
in
be
it.
some consistency there at least.
Yeah, again, Ben Mendelsohn's in it. K2SO's in it. I mean, it's all come to light now, right? It's going to be everything it needs to be. Leading up to Rogue One. Nicholas Britell is back doing the scoring, and he's got it under control. So fine, but this is, to me, it's like, even if it's amazing, it's not what they do anymore.
Right.
This is another one, again, like Skeleton Crew, that was in the can. Right. And so as much as I'm very excited about it, it doesn't mean anything. It's a 2 and done.
They're running into is like, nobody gives a shit. They're not creating anything that I think creates a lasting fan base. I think that's my problem. They're not creating new stories that bring new fans in that cared about the franchise. Again, they're trying to appease an older fan base while pissing them off, while trying to bring in a newer fan base that doesn't actually give a shit about the older characters. It is legitimately the worst approach that they could have taken. It's like, when Leia's trying to get off Hoth and she's like, hey, we got to leave. And there's like infinite directions that we could go, but we're going to go right at the fucking Star Destroyers. And in Family Guy, they're like, can we talk to somebody else? Like a man, maybe? What the fuck are we doing here? Special Ray for $9.99 says, calling it now, Matt Rissman will like the Ray movie. What do you think? Are you going to like it?
I am. He's busting my balls, right? Because I've been on record for a long time now saying we don't need any more sequels content.
Whether it's Ray fucking anything.
And again, I have nothing against Daisy Ridley, for goodness sakes.
No, she's fine.
But I mean, as far as Ray now going from one movie to potentially 4, if we believe that her movie is still going,
it's a bridge movie and then a trilogy.
That she's gonna be somehow the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the 3. I'm like, you know what? KK, go fuck yourself, right? Because this is all her. Can she not retire already? Right? And
she wants her magnum opus. Don't you remember? She wants her fucking magnum opus.
I know she wants it, right? But you know what? Can she? I think the John Williams documentary is Oscar worthy. Can she not just take her? Can she not just take her props from that and go the fuck away? Do we need another trilogy of this nonsense?
Yes, we do. Apparently, according to her. Special Ray, thank you for the $9.99. Let's dance a little bit. I got a piece. So bad. So you know how KK gets her magnum opus? How? She kicks off an Old Republic trilogy. That would be her magnum opus. Yeah. If she allowed people to do their fucking job and completely kicked out the Lucasfilm story group, just evaporated them, make them go away, and let actual storytellers do an Old Republic trilogy. Oh my God. Could you imagine Deceived? The Sith Wars. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Shit would sell like hotcakes. I would cut off my right hand to see the Sith Wars done properly.
Well, you're never gonna see that.
I get that. I'm just saying, like, this. I can't see the forest because of the trees. Like, you fucking moron. It's so easy. In fact, it's so easy that you own the fucking rights to it. You own the rights to it, and you can just copy it and just make a movie out of it. Somebody already wrote your script. It's done.
Nope. They got to do it. They got to do it for their own self.
Okay. Do me a favor. I got to grab a beer and I got to pee. Can you hold it down for just a moment and talk to me a little bit about Andor Season 2? I'm interested about what's going to happen because Andor Season 1 was, I think, what, 5 BBY?
Yeah.
It was about 5 BBY, and then obviously Rogue One is
no.
Zero BBY.
This is 4 years over 12 episodes.
Andor Season 2 is going to be the next 4 years leading up to Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Okay, that interests me a little bit, actually. Believe it or not. So Rogue One is obviously 0 BBY. Andor Season 1 is 5 BBY. So we're going to cover 4 years. What do you think is going to happen? And then I'm going to pull it up on my phone so I can listen to you while I'm doing what I got to do.
You're leaving here. You're leaving. Okay.
You got this. I am so fucking proud of you right now. I'm so proud of you.
Nobody cares. Yeah. So again, Andor Season 2. It's going to be the last 4 years. 3 episode arcs. Each 3 years is going to be, each 3 episodes is going to be a year. So for me, the most interesting thing about it is how are they going to manage the time skips? But we're going to see Andor saving Mon Mothma from the Senate after she does her, because we've seen it in Rebels already. You know, she doesn't last, obviously. And so he's gonna save her from that. Hopefully we'll see, Tarkin do some bad things that happen that leads her up to, having to go. And then we know that we'll see Ben Mendelsohn's character, of course, coming back. Several other things happening. His meeting K2SO, and K2 Alan Tudyk has said that he's in it and enjoyed being in it. So I know that Andor season 1 wasn't for everyone. I know people call it Ambor and all the rest of it. But I think Andor season 2 will be maybe more exciting for folks that didn't like the first season so much, just because, again, they're doing some things leading up to Rogue One, which I think will be quite interesting. And again, Luthen and some of these other characters that they introduced in the first season, obviously will continue. And I think all of that's great. All of that's great. So I wouldn't sleep on Andor season 2, even if you weren't such a big fan of Andor season 1. Yeah. But if you're looking for lightsabers and the Force and all those things that weren't in Andor season 1, you'll be disappointed because
You mean Star Wars?
No, but I think anyone who believes that that's what Star Wars is all about has a very myopic view of Star Wars.
It was integral to the story of Star Wars. It was a story.
Well,
it
not
was the
so
story
much.
of knights.
Well, I mean,
And
in
the
the
family
original
of knights.
in the original trilogy, those things weren't that integral, right? I mean, so I don't want to get back on that. I don't want to get back on that train, but I'm just saying there, for folks, there are folks, and again, I've seen the same thing with Skeleton Crew. Doesn't feel like Star Wars, right? It's a barrier to entry, as I always say, right? Whatever your barrier to entry is on Star Wars specifically, it doesn't have to always have lightsabers, the Jedi, the Force to be Star Wars, because that wasn't what the original trilogy was all about.
I would agree that it wasn't what it was all about. Having said that, I think we've become a little too... Okay, so here's... Let me preface with this. I think one of the greatest Star Wars shows that could ever be made would have been The Diaries of the 501st. Vader's Fist, right? The transition from the Clone Wars into becoming Vader's Fist, and the transition from clone troopers into stormtroopers and yada yada. Like, okay, you don't really have to have lightsabers in there so much, right? I mean, it's the story of clones. It's a boots on the ground story of the transition, Order 66, blah blah blah. Like, seeing it from that perspective, I think that's incredible. But having said that, what made Star Wars what it was this struggle between the light and the dark. It was love, light and the dark, the balance. Like, that's what made Star Wars so impactful, was that, which is directly tied to the Force. And so I think there are a lot of good stories that can be told outside of the Force in Star Wars. Obviously there can be. I mean, who doesn't like fucking Han Solo? He's not a Force user. Right. Everybody loved Lando Calrissian. He's not a Force user.
Yeah, but the example you just gave, a clone focused story has nothing to do with the Force, has nothing to do with Jedi, has nothing to do with lightsabers, right? So all I'm saying is
it can be done. I just feel like we've moved so far away from that now we're basically just telling stories that are only outside of the Force, because they can't figure out how to fucking tell stories with the Force without tying it back to the Skywalker saga. They simply can't fucking figure out how to do it.
Well, we need to continue to tell Star Wars stories like George Lucas did that weren't about Star Wars, right? They were about coming of age. They were about
story,
real world things that he liked to take and put into the Star Wars universe. Right. And so that's why I like this show, Skeleton Crew, because it feels like it's doing that. And people are like, doesn't feel like Star Wars. Nah, the music's bad. There's nothing about Star Wars in it, no. And I'm like, how what do you mean? Right?
Well,
Do you know what Star Wars? Do you know what the real thing about it was? A coming of age story. Trying to go and do something else. Growing up. How could it not be more of a Star Wars story than what they're going to tell here? I don't get it.
So I'll agree, and then I will agree to disagree. Absolutely, that is the type of story that we should be telling. You have to prioritize story first, and then legitimately you can almost lay a filter over it and make it Star Wars. I'm saying that, obviously that's a very condensed statement, but you can basically put a filter over it and you make it Star Wars. The problem is that when you're telling, and I'll make a comparison here, when you're telling those stories, they still have to operate within the confines of the universe that George Lucas created. And it's the same fucking thing with Tolkien, right? So, I mean, when you look at the story of the Rings of Power, if you wiped out everything else and there was no Tolkien and you watch that show, people would probably complain about it less because they're like, oh, okay, it's like a high fantasy show about this, elven princess who does all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. The problem is they wrote that show and they put that show in the confines of Tolkien's universe. And when you look at it, you go, fuck, that's stupid. None of this makes sense. None of it attaches to the original lore. Nothing makes sense inside the universe, yada, yada, yada. And I think Star Wars suffers from that a lot as well. And it's not so much, obviously, there are massive lore issues that have occurred in the sequel trilogy and, other stuff like that are established lore. But then again, there's just that feeling that sometimes can't be described. It's the umami of the Star Wars universe. And you pull fucking 9-year-old Geordie and people go, this shit doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't look like it belongs in the Star Wars universe. Same thing with those Boba Fett fucking speeder bikes. Same thing with Obi-Wan's lightsaber bouncing off of a fucking stormtrooper. There's some things that you just have to do to make it feel like Star Wars. And that's one of the biggest departures that Disney has done, is that they can't make it feel like Star Wars. The closest they got was Rogue One. Andor was miles down the road, far away from actually feeling like Star Wars, like Rogue One did.
I disagree with everything you just said in regards to feeling like Star Wars, especially from a trailer. I mean, this show and what they're going to do with these kids' planet and some of the rest of it, I think will feel very much like Star Wars. But just to say, you're looking at it like, oh, it doesn't feel like Star Wars because the music is, it's too modern, and all the rest of this. I'm like, you're just, to me, it's like that. When I hear that, I'm like, well, you're just looking for a reason not to like it.
It's not that. I legitimately do, like, every time, believe it or not, even at this stage in my Star Wars fandom, and it's fucking terminal. I'm stage 4 with my fandom right now. I still look for things to like. I always do. You look for a little something that you can enjoy. I think in this one, it was obviously, I mean, like, hyperspace is pretty hard to fuck up, but I think it was, let's see, where is it at? I mean, that was pretty much it. I'm like, wow, those thrusters look pretty thrustery, and that is definitely hyperspace, like fucking Star Wars. Okay, you know what I mean? But that's pretty much. We need to rewatch this just so I can actually try to find something here. But legitimately, I don't know if it's just my apathy or like what's going on.
I think it's just your apathy, to tell you the truth. I'm happy to rewatch it with you, by the way, because I love this trailer. But I think you're missing the point.
I probably am, and that's okay. It's okay to miss the point. Okay.
And when it comes all down to it, I might miss the point once the series comes out, right? But This trailer is one of the best trailers they've ever put out, in my opinion, from one of these Star Wars.
Well, do you remember when we were talking and we were first looking at Boba Fett, and you're like, this show is gonna suck ass, and I'm like, you're out of your mind. This is gonna slap like a 50-pound tuna. And
I was so right. I will happily say I was so right on that.
And we got to the end of it, and I'm like, oh shit, you were so right, dude.
Fucking Book of Boba Fett.
Hey, maybe it happens this way. Maybe it's the inverse. And again, again, I'm sorry, but like in my mind, Star Wars should always be a space opera. Star Wars deserves symphonic suites. It should pay homage to John Williams.
But on the big screen, I'm with you, right? But what we've seen on every Disney Plus thing they've done, it hasn't been that way. So I mean, for me to hear, well, the music again, it doesn't sound like Star Wars. I'm like, where have you been the last 6 years? Or how many years now has it been? Oh yeah, 6 years. All right, we're not doing that. We're not doing that on Disney Plus.
Yeah, but maybe we should be fucking doing it.
Well, but we're not, right? And so again, I don't think the whole series is going to be like a repurposed Peter Schilling score, right? But for this, if you know the lyrics behind Major Tom, it's 100% appropriate for this series.
I mean, so again, I get it. If you were to put a symphonic suite over this particular scene, it wouldn't match up, right? Like it wouldn't really make sense. Like a suite
doesn't
being
need
symphonic.
to.
Right. Which makes me feel like this isn't Star Wars.
Just because the music isn't John Williams?
I mean, how many Star Wars trailers did you watch from when you were a kid up until Disney bought it, where it started with two kids sitting in fucking plastic chairs?
Bro, but again, that's how many years ago is that? If you're still latched onto, in order for it to feel like Star Wars, they have to use John Williams music. Come on, man. You got to let that go.
It should feel like Star Wars. That's all I'm trying to say.
This does feel like Star Wars.
So what you're saying now, it's 2024. If Attack of the Clones was premiered in 2024, it would be like Napoleon Dynamite. Like Anakin would be sitting in a chair and it'd go do 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 do, and you go, Obi-Wan, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm late for my class. Like, no.
All I'm saying is you have to stop attributing George Lucas's theatrical treatments to what we're getting on television. This is television.
Vehemently refuse.
Well, then you've already lost, right?
Love George Lucas Star Wars. This is Star Wars that I love.
It's television. This is TV. This is the Ewok Adventures. This is not George Lucas theatrical episodes. This is television. And it's not, I get it. They haven't given us anything on the big screen. Totally get it. Right? But this is not the droids you're looking for, because this is television.
So why make it?
Well, that's a different story. I mean, I can't tell you why they decided to make it, but this series has been sitting in the can since Mando season 2.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, they make it because they fucking made it. That's what it feels like. So why are you doing it? Because we did it. That's like what it feels like.
But remember, Mando season 1, Mando season 2, this series, the directors, the writers, everything that went on, there was a care and feeding that hasn't existed since then. So that's the primary reason why I'm like, this could be a very pleasant surprise, because this series exists from a time period before it all went to shit.
Right. Yeah, so I don't want you to think I don't understand what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying, 100%. And there's a fair shot this could be a decent show.
Well, it'll be decent. I don't think it'll be great. I don't think this will be like, oh my God, Skeleton Crew was the thing that brought Star Wars back.
You have to let me finish before I get fucking spit roasted here. There's a fair shot this could be a decent show. I don't think it's going to be a good Star Wars show. I think it could be a good show. I don't think it's going to be a good Star Wars show. And again, Rissman, as always, there is nothing I love more than being negative on something and being pleasantly surprised. It's like when you're cold and all of a sudden you feel the warmth of the fire and you're like, holy shit, okay, I was wrong. I got no problem admitting that I'm wrong.
Totally get it.
But if you remember, I said the same fucking thing about The Acolyte. I was like, this shit is going to suck ass. I'm not the guy who comes into the show just already trashing the shit out of it. I trashed the shit out of the Acolyte before I started, and I was like, look, there's a chance that I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong. And then, of course, by the end of it, the internet was on fire. It was absolute shit. Everybody was laughing at Star Wars. But let's watch this. Let's watch this trailer one more time, just to anybody who hasn't seen it yet. So this is the upcoming Disney Plus show, and I think it really, what is it, December? December 5th?
December the 3rd, 2 episodes.
3rd?
And then Tuesday through middle of January.
Every Tuesday. Okay. All right. We might do watch parties. I don't know.
Again, it's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, which is so stupid, but yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
No.
All right. Let's watch this. Let's watch it together. If I get struck, I don't care.
What are you in for? What are you in for?
I found something buried in the woods.
Dad.
This is unacceptable. Do you understand?
What do you think it is?
Really quick, too, before we go any further, doesn't this just, for some reason, it smells like Taika Waititi?
Oh, God. I don't think so.
It's got this fucking faint.
It's not goofy. It's he does like all kind of goofy shit, right?
What's up, Culture? Who's the showrunner here?
John Watts and Chris Ford. So John Watts from your Spider-Man trilogy, and Chris Ford's done a lot of the writing as well. So again, this is why I say there's adults involved in this, unlike the fucking Acolyte, where I think they were just playing at it. So.
Oh, good question. I think
higher. This is easy.
So
higher.
I think it will have lower viewership on start, but higher viewership overall.
That could be true.
Yeah. So I don't think it has the draw of the Acolyte, because there was such a buzz on the internet about the Acolyte and like what the fuck was going to happen. But I think the viewership will persist higher with this show than it will with the Acolyte, because most people saw what happened. Everybody shitted on it and it fucking tanked. But I think this has a lot better chance of sticking with a casual viewer than the Acolyte does. Hardcore.
Oh yeah. It's not going to be woke.
Don't touch anything.
Okay. Hold on. I found something I liked.
What?
I found something I liked in the set design. No, I didn't go far enough.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Look.
Actual consoles that look like they belong in the Star Wars universe. So
no, you'll see more than just this. It's really
I know.
A lot of it's physical
screens and shit. Yeah.
A lot of it's physical sets.
What did you do?
We're lost. Really lost.
Is he an imp droid?
Say again?
Is that like a decommissioned Imperial?
He's like a combo. We don't know about what kind of droid he is.
He looks like an imp security droid, like a K2, kind of K2.
Yeah.
Stay
And look,
together.
wait, go back for a second.
Just want me to freeze
Go
on
back to a
Harper's
second when
scene,
they're
right?
when
She's home.
they're landing. Just a little bit more. Yeah. Go forward. And then pause. So behind that, the big ship that almost looks like the one that's in the middle.
Downspout of the medical frigate?
Yeah, the one that looks like a metal frigate right to the left, that's Hondo's ship. Or that's the ship, that ship is the same style that Hondo ends up getting. So there's a lot of speculation that we might see Hondo, Anaka in this
Do
series.
a lot of people care about Hondo?
I do. I mean, I don't think he'll be here, but we'll see at the end. It looks like a weak way thrown, right? But that ship, that's his. Apparently, that's the same kind of ship that he ends up getting here.
This is not Old Republic. This is past the sequel trilogy, right? Or at least in the time frame.
This is the same time frame as Mando season 3 and Ahsoka season 1.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Looks generic, not really Star Wars. Yeah, I would agree. It's missing. I mean, you could sit down and do an hour stream and talk about like what does or does not look Star Warsy in a particular scene.
I mean, this particular shot to me looks a lot like Star Wars, and then we'll see the next thing when they're like they're eating and do all the rest of it. And again, by the way,
like to me.
Both John Knoll and Phil Tippett were involved in this series.
Tippett?
Oh yeah, both of them. Both of them were involved in this series.
Very interesting.
Mhm.
Very interesting. You know what this reminds me of more than anything? Guardians.
Yeah, so there's and I see it in the chat, Goonies and all these things, and so for me it's like all that's true. And if you look at there is an interview between John Watts and Chris Ford, and everything that people are saying it makes them think about is exactly what they were going for because they love those things. That's why they made this. So again, whether you think they should have or not, when I see this whole thing, it's making me think of this, that, and the other, E.T. and The Last Star, all these things. Yeah, that's what they were going for.
Right.
So
we got a question here from Bodie, which I think I'm the pilot, Bodie Rook. There you go. When you said it could be a decent show, but it doesn't feel like a decent Star Wars show, X-Wing, why is that expectation there for anything an outsider wrote, let alone a side story? So this is where Star Wars is different than a lot of different things. This is same thing with like Lord of the Rings, a lot of different things, believe it or not. Well, Lord of the Rings is really its own special case as well. Again, I think you have to have somebody write a base story who's not attached to Star Wars. You have to have somebody who creates the plot and the storyline, and everything that makes up the meat of the story should be outside of Star Wars. That's always been my approach. I think that's a very, very good way to go about things. And then you hand that story off, the bones and the broth and everything, you hand it to Lucasfilm, and they make it a Star Wars story. That's the way that you should craft these stories. I believe I will die on that hill. I think that's the way to go. Again, I think it's important to have consultants as you're writing the story that can work small things in that are important to longtime fans. So callbacks to certain things from the expanded universe, certain things from the original trilogy, all these different things that really kind of sweeten the pot and make it feel like it's been a 2x4 that's been in the house the whole time. Even though it's a new story, it should feel like a 2x4 that's been holding up a wall the entire time. That is the house that is Star Wars. Unfortunately, I think what's going on right now is that you have people who are outside of the Star Wars fandom creating stories and handing those stories off to people who are newer to the Star Wars franchise. And so they're creating something that is their vision of what Star Wars should be, which is fine because they bought Star Wars. It's not George Lucas's Star Wars anymore. That's the bottom line. At the end of the day, it's not fucking George's Star Wars anymore. But you have to realize when you've cultivated a fan base over 50 fucking years that expect something, when you don't deliver that, they're going to be upset.
And I don't disagree with anything you just said. And I just have to restate for the record, this series is made by a bunch of folks who are lifelong Star Wars fans. Right down to Jude Law, by the way, as the lead actor. So when I hear it doesn't feel like Star Wars, it's not written by people who know Star Wars. It's like this series is written by people like you and me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have grown up with this literally, right? And so I'm like, I don't know what to do with it other than we have to see if the story holds up.
That's all we can do.
You have to see if the rest of it goes, but it hurts my heart to hear people say, well, it doesn't feel like Star Wars at the outset, and it's made by lifelong Star Wars fans. So if they don't get this right, then I don't know what we're looking for.
Yeah.
right? In regards to people writing a Star Wars show.
So again, agree for sure. I mean, we've seen, like you said adults are writing the show. And I think a lot of people thought like, well, of course they're fucking adults writing the show. What you mean by that is you've got people who are meant to be here, people who have the credentials to actually be here to like mess with this stuff. There are people who are involved with the show that have the credentials at least to be involved with it. Holy fuck, I just completely lost my point. But what I would say is that there are different, I won't say tiers, because then that means one person is more important than the other. There are different types of Star Wars fans. For sure. I can tell you that right now, because there are some people who just watch the movies, and so they want everything to be just like George's movies. There are people who watch the 6, and then they read the expanded universe. There are people who, watch the 6, but then only read the comics and never read any of the expanded universe. There's a whole different mesh of Star Wars fans. I think what the problem is right now is that you may get adults that will write the show. You'll get adults working on the show, but then the corporate entity comes in and puts its spin on it. And at the onset, when everything is submitted to the company and it's like, okay, let's go, I have to wonder if that product is miles better than what we finally see when we're on screen. If that makes sense.
It does make sense, but I think in this case, again, from the time it was made, I don't think you're going to get a lot of, quote unquote corporate meddling, right? I think we're going to get the story that Chris Ford wrote, right? And that John Watts wanted to produce. And so again, if you're entering into this whole scenario with Disney can't do Star Wars, this is just another case of them not being able to do Star Wars. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. Can you look at this and see you've already lost to me. You've already lost that.
I've been losing for you. But can you blame me for having a bad taste in my mouth?
Not 100%. No, absolutely not. Right. But if you think about it from, a perspective of somebody who's trying to tell a story that they love about pirates. Can you not? You love a story about pirates.
There's one in particular, yeah.
Yeah, about pirates, in the Star Wars universe, about kids, getting lost in space and doing these things that evoke those that stuff that some of us have loved from our childhood. I'm willing to give it a chance, right? But a lot of people don't want to give it a chance anymore. I get it, right? But I don't know why you wouldn't want to.
So for this one, and I saw a comment in chat, and I'm going to pull that up here in a second. I have to plug myself really quick if I can. Well, speaking of pirate stories,
of course you can. If you can't do it on your own channel, where can you do it?
So, yeah, fair enough. So I'm going to plug this really quick. By the way, if you've liked anything that I've said tonight, or how I feel about storytelling, or yada yada, and the love and respect that I have for storytelling, there's a link in the chat right here for daughtersrevenge.com. That's an early access sign up for a book that, if anybody in here knows who Drunk 3PO is, Drunk 3PO and I have gone together to create a new graphic novel called The Daughter's Revenge, with original characters, original story. It's historically somewhat accurate about a Navy man who is hunting pirates, and through circumstance actually has to become the one thing he swore to destroy, a pirate. It's a very, very interesting story. I put the link in the chat here for the early access group. So if you want to hear about the early releases, any merch that's going to be coming out, we got lucky enough that we're actually going to join up with 9 Line Apparel to benefit veterans. We actually got approved to get a shirt from 9 Line Apparel with our Vindicta logo on there, which is absolutely massive. It's a huge win for small creators like us that are just trying to put out good stories. And actually, believe it or not, if you look at this guy's arm right there, Stephen Brown says, "Hail the Tattoo Crew." there are quite a few folks out there who have actually already gotten this flag tattooed on their body. That is how much people love this story. So
I hope the story doesn't suck then if they got it like tattooed.
No pressure, right?
Right?
No pressure. You want to talk about fucking pressure?
Yikes.
So, anyways, yeah. If you want to click on the link here, you can join the early access community. I'm a blacksmith, so I'm forging a few swords that will go up for sale. We got the partnership with 9 Line Apparel. It's an absolutely beautiful project that I think is gonna just explode. I'm hoping it's gonna explode. Jay is an incredible, awesome dude. He's had a lot of success working in all these books and everything before, and we're working together. I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be freaking great. So, anyways, if you want to get cued in, go and sign up at daughtersrevenge.com. Okay, I got my plug done.
Awesome.
What was the thing that I was gonna say before I did the plug?
I can't help you with that.
Oh my God, where did we leave off? Oh, it was the question. There was gonna be a question. Crap, I was gonna pull it up. Here we are. Peak Obi-Wan says, I think this will be a harmless and not part of the overall conversation. It will be fun, but a nothing burger. So again, this is the reason why I'm not slamming this show at all. I'm not slamming it because this, at least yet, in my eyes, doesn't really have any bearing overall with the overarching Skywalker saga. Again, I keep telling Lucasfilm, stop touching that. Please stop touching it.
Oh, it has nothing to do with the Skywalker saga, but it definitely has something to do with the Mandoverse story.
Which is part of the Skywalker saga now.
Well, I mean, not really. I mean, do you think
fucking training Grogu? What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, that didn't really last, right? But I mean, the biggest thing about this series is their planet, right? Their planet is very important to the Mandoverse story. But other than that, I think there's nothing else here that you have to worry about. But the planet they're from is very important.
Oh God, culture. I'm not worried about bringing you in. I just don't know if I have the fucking. I know what's gonna happen.
No, we're good. We're good. We don't need him in.
You're gonna bring up a really good point, and then we're gonna be here for 3 fucking hours.
Nah, we're good. He's already decided he hates this series.
My social battery has maybe 30 minutes left on it.
Yeah. Keep going. Keep going with the trailer.
Oh, we didn't finish the trailer.
Stay together. We just need some directions home.
Also, did we confirm or not confirm that's fucking Max Rebo's illegitimate child or what?
He is not an Autoland. That has been confirmed. He is not the same species as
Come on, kid. Hey up. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this part kind of bothered me.
How so?
Oh, where'd you two find an Old Republic credit?
Where'd you two find an Old Republic credit? So I'm assuming that'll be explained in the show at some point.
Yeah, so I mean, again, this goes back to
they found it on the ship. That's
their planet, the ship they found, etc. There's a reason behind this.
Also, if the Republic's been dissolved and then reforged. Wait, if it was a Jedi ship, they would have found the Republic credits. The Republic got dissolved, turned into an Empire. The Empire went down, and then it's the New Republic. So they would have old Republic credits. Okay. These fucking kids went for hibachi. They're on a fucking alien planet, and they're like, "Where should we go for dinner?" I don't know. Let's go to the fucking hibachi spot.
I mean, they were hungry.
That is full-blown hibachi. Yeah, that's hibachi. Okay. Can we not do pirates anymore, please, in Star Wars?
Maybe they'll do it the first time here, right? Because again, this is their influence was Monkey Island. Some of the rest of it, I mean, these guys loved pirates.
Legitimately, the pirate scene that they're creating in Star Wars is fucking annoying to me. So if you remember Mando and Seaweed Man and the pirates, where they legitimately actually park a starship above a planet and they're like, fire broadsides, bow, 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 and a guy in an eye patch is like, yeah, they've released too many starfighters. Fuck, dude, that was so bad.
Over here, quick. I'll get you home. We'll make a partnership. But we have to move fast.
Okay, one more thing I did like. It looks falcony, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks a bit falcony.
Inside the ship is cool.
Yeah, digging the inside of the ship. This looks appropriate.
Fast. I need you to take the controls.
Also, another thing that I'm enjoying that they're doing, instead of just retarded LED panels, is a shitload of greeblies everywhere. You have to have greeblies. So enjoying that. And then they fucking ruin it.
How so?
Neil!
And by the way, this Neil character is an animatronic, a puppet, and a voice actor. I mean, that's
wild.
They went all out in how they did this.
That's wild. That's actually cool. I enjoy that. I wish they would have done that elsewhere.
Okay. Neil? Neil?
Neil? It conjures visions of Wade. Fuck, man. I think Jude Law is going to bring some much needed gravitas.
Oh yeah. There's.
And then I have totally forgot. I said Jude Law's going to bring some much needed gravitas, and then fucking boom.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Urkel.
Did I pirate that?
I think it's gonna be fun. With a fucking weird LED.
Khalil White. I think it's gonna be fun.
Oh, he's like a diverse lobot with a missing eye.
Oh, come on, man.
It looks so bad, Rissman. Please tell me that you really like this look.
I mean, I think it looks cool.
Oh my god, dude. Taser face in the background, dude.
Keep going.
Of murderous pirates is coming.
And the droid, they got the droid right. Speed,
Yeah,
they got Smee right.
He's kind of like a K2.
Yeah.
Weird. I always like a new droid, except for BB-8. I fucking hated that design. It almost looked like the training droid, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, apparently they got in D23 today. They apparently got a view of a different droid that was protecting the kids. So in a new trailer. So who knows?
Something's wrong.
Again, it's so funny when I reviewed this trailer for the first. He looks good.
Yeah. No, they did a great job, and the guy that voices him also was amazing.
Yeah, he looks good.
But again, that they brought out the people who know how to do this shit. Again, there's a reason why. I know everyone's like,
fucking drove me nuts.
There's a reason why it looks this way. There's a reason why this part of the planet looks like it does, and that will be revealed in the show. But I get it. I get
it. It's fucking Super Earth.
I get it.
All right.
Something's wrong.
They're not going to just turn up. We need to find them.
We're not alone down here.
Is that the Borgullet?
No, I don't think it's Borgullet, but it's a creature. Which again, they brought the creature factory in to do all this stuff.
It looks like the Borgullet.
A bit.
That looks like Cantobite.
It isn't. It's not Cantobite.
Every booby.
X-wings, that's cool.
Traps.
Pirates and mountains.
That part I kind of like. It's like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And mountains where none dead.
Oh, missed it.
Pirates and mountains where none dead ago.
Yeah, I like his voice. Where none die ago.
Yeah, that's Nick. Well, I can't remember his last name.
Jason
He's
Statham.
a good voice actor.
Hear this. Don't give up. No matter what.
And at the end there, if
This is
you
the
go back
fucking
a little bit,
movies,
that's
dude.
where everyone's like, it's Hondo's throne because it's a weak way. It's a weak way there.
No matter.
The
the
mask
spikes
and
on
the
the
throne
jowls.
is a whole. What this is obviously what they're it's pirates treasure and all that. Blah, blah, blah.
They're after Honda Anaka's stash.
Well, I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily Hanonaka, but if you look, there's a big chair in the middle there, and the mask and the sides looks like a weak way. So everyone's like, "Whoa, that means Hondo's in it between that and the ship and all that." I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
I think let's finish this really quick and then we
So it's over
wrap
now.
it
I
up.
mean, this is
Matter
the
what.
end. That's it.
So again, in the end all be all, I think this is just it's a side story. It doesn't do any harm. It's not like Solo where you're fucking up a legacy character. It's not like an extension of, the Skywalker legacy where you're ruining, a franchise character again. It could be harmless fun, which is fine, but again, why are we putting our energy there? Why are we dumping money into it?
So again, we're not putting our energy there now. We put our energy there 7 years
Some time
ago.
Yeah.
So at some point, they have to decide to either, fire sale it, put it out there, or dump it. So put it out there, right? On your point, after the debacle that was the Acolyte, to me, the best thing they could have ever have done was hold this for a Christmas release, because the last thing was so absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
This is gonna be miles above it,
Little
even
palate
though.
cleanser,
And again, for a Christmas release, watching with your family, blah blah blah. The only thing important about it is the planet that everyone wants to get to for a very particular reason that no one can ever find. So again, it has a tie-in. It has a tie-in to the broader story. Pirates, kids, a new droid, Jude Law. I mean, I don't see how they can miss with this. But again, did they ever need to make it? I'm not on that boat. I don't think they ever needed to, but they did make it.
It got made, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. This isn't something I can go hard in like the Acolyte. This isn't something I can go hard in on like Kenobi. You know what I mean? I can't sit here and just crap all over this. I can make fun of the fact that it doesn't really feel Star Wars to me. And other people are going to feel differently, and that's fine. Obviously, that just shifts around a bunch. But again, just from a timing perspective and everything that's going on, it just feels like a limp-wristed attempt. And they're like, hey, remember Star Wars? And they kind of flick their hand at the wall, and it's like, it's not the win that they need right now, but I understand why they're releasing it. I do.
I have to say the best thing about this for me is they are going to produce a Star Wars project with more care and attention, with more love for the franchise than anything that Leslie fucking Squarehead just did.
Yeah.
And again, it's not all about that, but it's kind of all about that. Because again, this series is made from a bunch of folks, whether you're talking about directing, whether you're talking about writing, whether you're talking about producing and all that have loved this franchise and have wanted to see it continue for more than ever fucking Leslie. I guarantee you, John Watts never said, well, I need, Chris Ford, I need help in the writer's room. I'm going to hire people who've never seen Star Wars before, who never know. Fuck that. Right?
Yeah.
This is not those people. So for me, I'm like, whatever they put out here and whatever we do or don't think about the finished product, it's going to be superlative in so many ways to what we just got with the Acolyte. And Lucasfilm should be
Such a low
ashamed.
bar, Rissman. That's
Well,
such a
that,
low
but,
bar.
but that's not what I mean. They should
Right.
be ashamed that they ever permitted the Acolyte to come to be, because this series and the adults involved and the people who've been doing this for many, many years, I don't get it. I don't get why we
You just-
ever would have gotten the Acolyte.
You know that, like, a very wise man once said, "Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me a third time, can't fool me again."
I know, George W.
You know-
I get it. I
You know
get
who
it.
else was a huge fan of Star Wars, a lifelong fan of Star Wars? Bobby motherfucking Rodriguez. Lifelong fan of Star Wars. He was shooting with his action figures in his backyard. This lifelong fan, the grown up in the room who had done all of these different things, was about to make us the greatest action series for a legacy character, Boba Fett, that we'd ever seen in our life.
Yes, Culture Casino. If this sucks, I will give you a personal apology.
We'll see it on stream.
But what I won't do is I won't caution you assuming and hoping it's gonna suck before it comes out. But if it does suck, and I believe it does, I will absolutely let you know. But otherwise, shut the fuck up. Shut the motherfuck up.
That's what I love so much about Late Night, and why I think it's so special. What you and I have on the show is that we both have our opinions for sure, but neither of us are ever entrenched in our opinions. They're movable for sure. Having said that, it's been a long time since they've moved me.
Yeah, I
You
get
know what
it.
I'm saying? It's been a
get it.
very long time since they've moved me. So I've been burned enough at this point. I really don't believe in anything. But having said that, if it's something that can move me, I will be moved. I'm not entrenched at
Yeah.
all.
You know what? And you know, I am the eternal optimist when it comes to these properties and these new things. Absolutely. But I have something tugging at me. Maybe it's just because it's my nostalgia for the 80s and because everyone who made this series is my age, right? And they're doing things that I would have loved to do if I had the opportunity to put out a Star Wars series, right? You know, everything that I loved about that time period and everything that went on then, and just the wide-eyed innocence, right, that
Sure.
went through a lot of those properties back then. So I am
Bite in the
probably
neighborhood as the lights turn off kind of feeling. Yeah.
projecting more than a little bit on how much I want this to be good.
Yeah.
But I also believe that it can be good, right? And that they could have done something surprising here. But what's getting drugged down is, because it was held back, everything else that's fucking sucked big time. It's giving them a deficit, right? They're starting below the bottom of the barrel.
This is more than a deficit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But I'm going into it still. There's a chance here. There is a chance that this is a sleeper.
So sleeper. Imagine this show is fucking incredible.
Mm.
And I mean incredible. I'm talking
Well,
gangbusters.
incredible is a bit of a stretch, but
But let's just imagine for a moment this shit gets Oscars. Like, banger fucking show. Does it do anything for Star Wars?
not a thing.
Not a fucking thing.
And that's what's the worst thing for me. This doesn't Nobody is subscribing to Disney Plus to see this series.
Yeah.
Nobody's bringing their kids to watch this. This doesn't move the bar at all. The only people that are
Less
watching
than
this
Andor.
series is us,
Yeah.
right? Those of us that are the diehards, right? Because they've lost the.
I don't think
appeal.
diehards are watching this show.
Well, but those are the only ones that are, right? Who, again,
I think
nobody's.
slightly more than casual fans will watch the show. I don't think diehards are watching this show.
Well, peace and love, right? All I'm saying is the only people that are going to watch the show are the ones that are already invested in Star Wars. This doesn't move the needle at all from a franchise perspective. And so for me, I'm like, okay, well then make it good for those of us that are fucking watching it.
Yeah. I'm kind of with B-Man. Yeah. I actually think it's a lot less than Andor. I think Andor season 2 will have a much larger impact than Andor season 1 did, because there was at least a narrative around season 1. Even a lot of the folks who were massive detractors of the show said it was the best Star Wars that nobody ever watched.
Oh, I think season 2 is going to beat the pants off season 1, personally.
If season 2 of Andor beats the pants off of season 1, I think it will be the first in a list of wins for Lucasfilm. Literally the first, other than Rogue One, which is obviously this is an offshoot of Rogue One. I think it will be the first.
Well, they're actually, you saw what they did. They're like Andor season 2, a Star Wars story, right? They're leaning into it big time.
Into Rogue One?
Yeah.
Well, they kind
Big
of fucking have
time.
to.
Big
If it
time.
spans 4 years into zero BBY, they fucking have to. Absolutely. And then the question becomes, what do they do next? And if the next one is a fucking Rey story, you can kiss that momentum. Good motherfucking bye.
Well, but Andor season 2 to me is sadly it's sort of in the same boat as Skeleton Crew, which is no one is subscribing to Disney Plus to watch Andor season 2. No one's bringing their kids along into the franchise to
It
watch.
has a better chance than
Andor
Skeleton
season
Crew.
2. I think neither one of them is creating new Star Wars fans, right? I think either one of them is
I think
trying
Andor
to
has the capability to.
is trying to nurture and restore some of their lost will from old fans to say, give us another chance, right? But can you
not
think?
the play. That's not the play. Andor is not the play to restore faith in the fan
But
base.
who is gonna watch Andor season 2? Who is it for?
Who are any of these shows made for?
Well, but all I'm saying is it's not creating new Star Wars fans, right? Whether it's Skeleton Crew, whether it's Andor season 2, right? It's trying to service the fans that already exist. So if that works, it works. If it doesn't work, then they've just failed again.
Well, if you go to a Thai massage parlor and you ask for a hand job and they start rubbing your foot, who are they servicing? It's you know what I mean?
Yeah, but if I'm going to a massage parlor and I want a happy ending, I'm gonna get a happy ending, right? It's not quite the
Lucasfilm
same.
can't fucking do it. They
It's-
simply
it's-
can't fucking do it.
It's not quite the same thing, right? All I'm saying is, whether it's Chris Ford and John Wantz, whether it's Tony Gilroy and his cast of characters, right? They're making something, I think, for us, right? What Lucasfilm hasn't seemed to master yet is how do they make something for someone new that also services us? But no one's, again, Andor season
It's a
2,
really fucking easy
people are
way to
not.
do it. You tell a really good story for old fans. If you tell a really good story for old fans, guess what? New fans will go, that's a really good story.
Maybe.
Not maybe.
Maybe.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah, but
How
that's
the
not.
I think
That's-
George Lucas got prequel fans involved.
All I'm saying is that's not Skeleton Crew, and
Are
that's
you
not
telling me that original trilogy fans carried the prequel trilogy?
no. No, original trilogy fans weren't a huge fan of the
So
prequel
why was
trilogy.
the fucking prequel trilogy such a hit? Because he told a good story that fucking brought fans in.
Well, I mean, the story wasn't that good, but it was the story
spectacular,
he
in my
intended to tell.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is, whether it's Skeleton Crew, whether it's Andor season 2, it's not bringing people in. Right? This is a fire sale. Both of these are what they call a fire sale, right? These are properties that they had to finish, that they're putting out, and they wanted to be great. By the way, they don't want it to be shit. But I don't think they believe that either one of these is gonna be like, oh my god, because of this, people that come into the franchise. No.
Sorry, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and continue the story here. No, I'm just kidding.
Revenge of the Sith, by the way, it's a great story, right? And what happens, obviously, with Anakin, that's awesome, right? Return of the Jedi, by the way, not a great story, right?
Send you to Jesus.
The Phantom Menace,
I will send you to Jesus.
like Attack of the Clones, a lot of people don't, right? But these are arguably not great stories, but they're good Star Wars, by the way. I'm not disputing that they're not good Star Wars, but they're kind of shitty movies.
So that's
Right.
the age. That's the age. That's the old adage, right? Is that 1, 2, and 3 are bad stories, but they're good Star Wars movies. 3, 4, 5, 6 are actually perfect.
Yeah. Again.
7, 8, 9 are decent movies, which I disagree with, but they're bad Star Wars.
And again, Return of the Jedi. Let's not go there again.
What the fuck are you doing?
Let's not do that again tonight.
I will send you to Jesus.
Yes, I understand. I know you will.
Just, I'm using Stephen He instead of me fucking unleashing my wrath right now.
No, that's why I say let's not.
Return of the Jedi is a fucking incredible movie. I love it to death. It is one of the greatest Star Wars movies ever created. I'm sorry, that throne room scene, dude.
That's the only good part of
fuck outta
Return. That throne room scene is the only good part of
Man, you didn't like the attack on the Death Star? You don't like black people? I'm sorry. Is it because he was in charge of the Falcon? You just don't like black people? Is that what you hate Lando? Is that what it was?
The end of Return of the Jedi is the only good part of that movie.
Congratulations. That was one of the stupidest things that I've ever seen anybody post on the internet before.
Oh, Lord help. That's why I say we don't have to go back there. We don't have to go back there.
Moving on. All right, I think we only had one thing left.
What was the other topic? We had one more topic, didn't we?
Well, I mean, sort of, kind of, a little bit. So D23 Brazil launched. I think really the last thing I wanted to talk about here was actually, hold on, we should probably hit chat for just a second here.
They're roasting me. They're roasting me again about my opinions on Return of the Jedi. I know.
Yeah, they're not good.
I know.
Original OT fan here, fine with the prequels, but Jar Jar is annoying. I don't think anybody debates the fact that Jar Jar is annoying.
By the way, speaking of Jar Jar, I saw a movie tonight called Heretic. With Hugh Grant was the villain of this movie.
Was Ahmad Best the hero?
No, but there was a Star Wars reference in this movie, and it was Episode 1, and it was Jar Jar, and he did a Jar Jar voice in the movie. It was amazing. It was absolutely
you have to send me the clip for that so I can use it.
Bro, it was, and the context was around. The context is around.
Really quick, I'm sorry, Rissman. Can you just do for culture? Do you need this? Is that what you need?
What's going on?
Do you want that? You said I'm
Oh
going.
my
to bed,
God!
my love for me.
All right, yeah.
Is that what you wanted?
That's fine.
We love you, culture.
Yeah, but the context was around, gods and our view of gods, through different cultures, and then there was a Star Wars reference, and Darth Jar Jar, blah blah blah. It was Hugh Grant doing the Jar Jar voice was amazing.
Is this a show?
It was a movie called The Heretic.
Never heard of it. I'll have
Yeah,
to go
it was
watch
an
that.
A24. They call it a horror movie. It wasn't really a horror movie, but highly recommend. But there was
A Jar Jar reference.
There was Hugh Grant doing the Jar Jar voice. It was totally worth the price of admission.
You're like fucking 4'2". Are you kidding me? These can cover the top of your head. Dude, I went to Texas, to San Antonio. It was ridiculous how many people are like, "Oh my god, you're tall." Like, would you think I was like 5'6"? They're like, "Well, I mean, I don't know. Beardo says you're 5'7" all the time, and I'm in my boots. I'm like fucking 6'1", 6'2", saying hi to all these people. Like, oh my god, you're fucking huge. Anyways, easy, Bodie. So, anyways, D23 Brazil comes out. Andor premiere date. Obviously, we get Grogu Mando is on the books. It's gonna happen.
It is.
And is that going to be a? Do you have like a face tracker on your camera?
I don't know why it moved. It moved.
Yeah.
I did something. Yeah,
It's
it's on a gimbal. It's on a gimbal.
But so Mando Grogu is going to happen. Now, remind me, because it's been so long. He sent Grogu back on an X-wing to Tatooine.
Oh yeah, that's
in
ages
of
ago
a
now.
massive firefight, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, massive firefight.
And then remember, in season 3, he was in the mech thing. No, yes, no,
yeah.
yeah.
He was in the assassin droid. Yeah,
Mhm.
11, IG-11.
Yeah.
Repurposed. Which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, IG-11 exploded in a lava pit.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
It's all true.
All right.
Mhm.
I'm just making sure.
All
Because
true.
if I leave a piece of steel in coals for more than 5 seconds, it evaporates into nothing. I'm just making sure that lava. Okay.
No,
Right.
you're correct.
Okay.
You're correct.
Because in Lord of the Rings, when they put the indestructible ring,
You don't have to keep talking about it. You're
okay,
right.
I was all
You're
right.
right.
I was just
Keep
making sure.
Keep
I was just making
going.
sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that we've got that figured out, and the season ended in Looney Tunes fashion with them sitting on the front porch.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And it literally did the Looney Tunes.
Yes, it did. Yes.
So now they're living on Navarro.
Yep, Navarro. Mm-hmm.
Landed gentry. They're landed gentry now.
Yeah.
Landed gentry.
Yeah.
So
let him rest in peace. But yes.
Yeah, landed gentry. So the Moff is dead, except that he's got obviously clones fucking everywhere. That's right. We have to bring Ahsoka into it. So Thrawn is now coming back to.
Yeah, but I think Thrawn and Ahsoka has nothing to do with the Mando and Grogu movie.
What are they gonna fight?
Well, no. I again, the way they left it, was, we need your help. If we have to call on you, and we need your help, tracking down, Imperial warlords, blah blah. Are you available? And he was like, yeah, I'm available. Just call on me. And that's what this movie is going to be about. It's going to be him and Grogu chasing down or tracking down an Imperial warlord. And again, they did confirm today that Sigourney Weaver is in it. Okay, we knew this from the trades, but it was confirmed today at D23. And so I have to assume that she's the warlord. That's my assumption. But this whole tracking down the warlords, etc., is leading towards Thrawn. That's my opinion.
Okay. So from an expanded universe reader's perspective, Thrawn does not give a fuck about the Well, I take it back. The rebellion was a speed bump in the way of him achieving his ultimate goal of creating a military force that was going to be able to repel the impending doom that was the invasion, right? I mean, that was what Thrawn wanted.
Yeah, but that's not the Thrawn of this story, right? The Thrawn of this story is the one with the mothers and going back to Dathomir and doing weird things, right? So
Yeah,
that's
but
why
what's the character motivation then for Thrawn?
I can't tell you, right? We left him at the end of Ahsoka season 1 going to Dathomir with a bunch of coffins, and we assume they're Dathomir witches and the mothers, and so they're doing that. And that's why I say this story with Mando and Grogu, I believe, has nothing to do with that story, right? That story is going to be told again in Ahsoka season 2, and that will all be culminated in the Dave Filoni movie, which is not this movie, right?
It's
this
not?
No, this movie is basically Mando season 4. That movie that culminates the whole Thrawn story is the Filoni movie that's after Ahsoka season 2. That's not this movie.
So like what, 2029?
Well, I assume it's 2027, but we don't know because they haven't given us no release dates.
Lucasfilm did, dude. I have no fucking idea what's happening in the Star Wars universe right now.
This is 2 different movies. Mando and Grogu is basically Mando season 4, right? Which again is this whole let's go out, you and me, kid, we're going to go out and we're going to do a warlord thing. We're going to figure some stuff out. We're going to find whatever they're going to do. But that is completely
What bearing would that have on the overall arcing story of this post-Empire?
That's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is the point of this movie is, can we bring new people back in? Can we reinvigorate folks for Grogu and Mando?
I'm telling a story that has fucking nothing to do with anything.
Well, but
summer, Bob Schneider is a stapler.
It has a little bit to do with what came before. It has a little bit to do with what comes after, but it has everything to do with bringing people back into the theater to see a Star Wars story. But no, this is not the story you're looking for. If you think it's going to be anything related to Thrawn, I don't expect Thrawn to be in this movie at all.
Then it makes as much sense as the Skeleton Crew. It's a nothing burger.
Maybe, right? But I mean, I don't think Favreau wants his name on a theatrical nothing burger. So we'll see what the story is ultimately. But yeah, it's a Hail Mary, right? It's like we have to go back into the theater. How can we go back into the theater in the most innocuous way? Well, fuck, we'll bring Mandalorian and fucking Baby Yoda and we'll do something. Favreau, do something.
I don't understand. Your big return to the silver screen is a story that means fuck all.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it'll mean fuck something, right? But on your point,
fuck a quarter, fuck it, fucking eighths.
So what's the alternative, right? They're not gonna. They already know they can't re-enter on a Rey story, right? They have to re-enter on something that's at least somewhat more relevant and more beloved in the last 5 years.
Beloved is a strong choice.
But again, they're the same age, right? 2019 is the same age, right? The Rey stuff from the last movies we got, and the Mandalorian, right? If you had to make a choice, you'd go with the Mandalorian too.
100%, but that's like a giant douche in a turd sandwich. I'd take the giant douche because at least it's not a turd.
Well, welcome to Lucasfilm. Right, but that's the movie we're getting in May of 2026.
You're really exciting me for the projects moving forward.
It's that movie.
Jesus.
I don't know. At least there's AT-ATs and a snow planet. I'm fine with it. Right?
I remember.
You know what I mean?
I remember.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if I'm gonna go and see it on the big screen, at least give me something that doesn't fucking suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't give me Crate again. Don't give me like, AT-AT adjacent.
Make it look like Star Wars.
Yeah. And maybe you'll get your music, right? You know what I mean? It's theatrical, right? They have to hold some things back for the big screen. And again, Favreau knows how to do a movie. Okay, it's gonna be a movie.
Yeah, he does. He knows how to do it.
Again, is it gonna be great? It's not gonna suck. I don't know if
You know
it's
what
gonna
it's
be
gonna be?
great.
Stupid!
Nah, I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it more than you want to.
I hope you're right. Legitimately, I really do. I hope you're right. Like, man,
But again, it's not gonna be $1 billion business, right? They're gonna make. Hopefully, they'll make the movie for 150 million. And if they
Lucasfilm?
they're gonna make it on the volume, right? They're gonna make it like it's a fucking Disney Plus series, and they're gonna
Yeah.
put it on the big screen. Peace and love, fine. So they'll make it for $150 million, and it'll make $750 million, and they'll call it a success.
Yeah,
That's what's
so
gonna
an
happen.
average-
it's not gonna make
average
$1
fucking-
billion.
average
It's not gonna
fucking
make
movie.
$1 billion, but it'll make 600, 750 million. I don't think so.
It's more than they've made on all of their previous entries. So
That's what they need to show for the shareholders, right? They
Yeah.
need to show that they're on a trajectory, right? You know, because again, 20th Century has been killing it with the stuff that they've done. You know, Marvel has done a few things recently, Pixar, blah, blah, blah. Now, Star Wars, Lucasfilm needs to put out something that doesn't fucking bomb. And they'll do it with this. Okay.
yeah. Imagine a not bomb being a sign of success.
600 million, 750.
Yeah,
Okay. They'll do it.
that is a big win for them.
100%.
Maybe that's the fucking magnum opus that KK leaves on. You know, we made money after fucking 10 years. We finally fucking did something.
with the absolute shit show that was the Dial of Disaster.
Oh my god.
Right? She'll take 150 million budget on 600, 650, 700 million. She'll take that and she'll retire all the way.
Yeah.
Right? But again, it's not going to be $1 billion plus. It's not going to be Deadpool and Wolverine.
They don't have the capability at this point or the goodwill of the fan base to make that kind of money.
I think they have. I think they have the casual audience coming to see a Star Wars movie, paying for a ticket. I think they have that every which way from Sunday. But on your point,
it's reduced drastically though.
I don't think they have the repeat customer. I don't think they have the will of the waiting in line, the cosplay, the things that used to happen.
Nobody is hanging on the words of Lucasfilm right now.
But I mean, people will.
They'll go
for a Star Wars movie. People will still come out and they'll buy a ticket. They got nothing else to do. What are we doing?
Yeah. What the fuck else is coming out?
They'll buy a fucking ticket for the weekend. Sure.
Yeah.
That's why I say it'll do 750 million easy.
But it
I don't know that's the success for a Star Wars movie, but it will do it.
Well, it's certainly not what it was.
No.
It doesn't carry the weight anymore, and that's the real fucking problem. I mean, if you put a Harry Potter movie out right now, fuck. I mean, they still have the goodwill of the franchise. Even after what perceived flops and Fantastic Beasts and all those different kind of things, they've still got the goodwill of the franchise.
They better hurry up before they put that series out or whatever and fucking ruin it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But
I'm of the Harry Potter franchise.
With you. The Harry Potter franchise is still much more in the zeitgeist.
Yeah,
from a popular perspective than Star Wars is. But again, I'm telling you. First time in by then it will be 7 years? The first time in 7 years there's a Star Wars movie in the theater. Everybody's gonna come out and see it once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of easy money. But again, I don't think that translates to necessarily success. Unless I'm wrong and it makes $1.5 million, $1.5 billion, $2 billion bucks. I don't think it will.
That's a hard sell for me, bud. I don't think it's going to do that.
But again, they keep the budget controlled and it makes 600, 750 million, that's a success.
You know what though, and I'm interested. We can make this the last thing here because we've gone an hour and 54 minutes. God, that flew by. I told you I missed the shit.
It always does.
I think if Lucasfilm put out a movie, let's just say budget's no issue, time is no issue. If they put out a movie next year and it was the battle of the Army of Darkness, you know, the Sith against the Army of Light, the Jedi. We're talking about Darth Bane and the Thought Bomb and the, you know, everything that goes on during the Darth Bane trilogy, and just did an anthology movie about that. It makes $1 billion. Chat, what do you think?
They still got to come out and see it.
I think if they saw a Sith Jedi war unfold on the live screen in a trailer, you see the charge of the Sith and the Jedi and the Acolytes and the Army of Light and, you know, everything like, dude, I think it makes fucking money. And here's the interesting thing. It feels a little bit like the Trump election. Everyone's like, bro, Americans are more worried about this than the other thing. If they see that, I think more people come out to watch it than you think. I know, because Star Wars, America is not just about abortion. Star Wars is not just about fucking lightsabers. I legitimately think people would have a rekindled interest in it. A legitimate rekindled interest in seeing a Star War.
I actually think that that movie that you just said gets less viewership at this point than Mandalorian Grogu. Because you're looking at it as your lens of a lifelong Star Wars fan, you know, a sweaty, somebody who knows what's going on. We're so far away from that in regards to the normal public. The normal public knows Baby Yoda, and that's why they're doing it. Right? And that's why I hate that they're doing it, but that's why they're doing it. They don't know anything you just talked about. They know Baby Yoda and the Boba Fett lookalike. That's why this movie exists. And that's why it's not Mando's season 4.
I'm polling. I want to poll.
Yeah, but you're polling the wrong people. Right? The people in this audience are not the people you should be polling. Right? You should be polling everyone who's not here. And everyone who's not here is gonna say Grogu movie. That's
a lot of people love war movies. Point. A lot of people love war movies.
Yeah, but again, there people who are now so. It's been so long since the last thing people have seen from Star Wars is Palpatine returned.
Not my fault.
So I get it. Right, but you talk about Sith War and the rest of it, they're like, what the fuck? The last thing I seen is fucking a Yoda lookalike and somebody who's like his Boba Fett dad. I'm gonna watch that movie. I don't know anything about a Sith War. Who the fuck is the Sith?
You literally start the movie with a black screen with a fade-in text that says 2,500 years before the birth of Luke Skywalker.
Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
Come on.
Never gonna happen.
We're 20 votes in, man. They're saying Sith War. I'm just saying.
Of course they are. If this chat doesn't say Sith War, then we've got the wrong people watching. But it's not representative.
Why do people like Saving Private Ryan?
Huh?
Why do people like Saving Private Ryan? It's an incredible story that exists inside of a war.
Right.
And people love to watch war movies because it is the absolute worst of humanity and the best of humanity. All enveloped in one scenario. So how could you not make a compelling story the same way you would do Saving Private Ryan, the same way you would do a bunch of these different war movies, and then, like we said, you tell a good story and then you put it through the lens of Star Wars? It would go fucking gangbusters. I promise you. That's the same thing I said about the 501st Diaries movie. It's the same thing. You make a fucking war movie, you tell an incredible story, and then you put it through the lens of Star Wars. Money, fucking printing, fucking money, printing, fucking money. Joe Biden levels of inflation of Star Wars dollars, fucking money.
Is Grogu in it? Is anybody in
Sure.
it that anybody knows?
Have a pram run across the screen at 10 seconds in, and it'd be like, Grogu makes his return in Sith Wars, the Old Republic. It's just,
Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Nobody cares about
You could reinvigorate the collectibles game from like whatever fucking side that you wanted to be in, you know, in the movie that you made with different kinds of props from each side and blah blah blah. Dude, it's endless. It's so
We
easy.
just had a Sith focused story and it didn't work.
That is not. Don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare. Not even close.
We had a peeping Plagueis. It didn't work. Did not work. No. No. No way.
That's like handing somebody a plate full of steak with a piece of fucking arugula in the middle and being like, it's vegetarian. No. The answer is no.
We've moved past it, right? That ship has sailed. Right now, we've got Grogu. Grogu is where they're going. And if it's not Grogu, you know who it is? It's fucking Rey. We've got Grogu and we've got Rey.
Groga, the daughter of Yaddle, is going to show up and teach Grogu how to be a fucking Jedi Master for sure.
No, that's all we got. We've got Grogu or we got Rey. Pick your poison. Which one do you hate less?
I choose neither.
Well,
I'll stand with the stories that I've loved and enjoyed with this franchise for a very long time. Unfortunately, that's just where we're at. I don't have another choice, so I'll make a video about the Sith Wars. How about
you
that?
won't make a video?
I will.
Do you make
videos? In 1.4 years, I will make a video about
I don't think you made videos.
You guys sign up for the early access club to the Sith Wars video that's going to happen in a year and a half. Okay,
that.
kids. It's late. We gone for 2 hours. Rissman, what do you want to say? You got some anything we can do? Follow you, make sure we get over to the places where you're at.
No, I'm just anywhere, nowhere, here, you know.
Easy
whatever.
time. Oh shit, we missed a super chat here.
Okay.
The Faraminator for $4.99 says make Legends films with the banner and everything, and you will print money. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I mean, you can tell incredible stories, you know, Mace Windu, Clone Wars style stuff, fucking Old Republic stuff. There are so many talented writers who told incredible stories, and for some reason, they just refuse to use them. I will die on the hill that the Kenobi book is 9 million times better than what they put out for the Kenobi show.
No,
it just doesn't make sense to me.
If only there was some source material, it would be better.
Yeah. Thank you for the donation. We're going to play this just to make Rissman happy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your generous contribution to
X-Wing.
Thank you.
I love him.
All right. Rissman, anything else you want to say before we go?
Love to be here. Good to see everyone tonight. Thank you. Culture Casino, we finally got rid of his ass. That's good.
We're gonna have to have him on the show so you guys can fist fight or whatever you're gonna do. All right, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to the donators tonight. I appreciate you guys. To all of my members, Joan Lovelace, I want to give a shout out for the $10 donation. Thank you. Special Ray for the $10. Thank you so much. And Framinator for the $4.99. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And remember, all of my friends, when they tell you you have to think a certain way with your franchise, to bend the knee, do not bow. You bow to no one.
My friends.
You bow to no one.